Just Eve. Just Eve.
Welcome back. Happy Saturday. Today is Friday. Whoops. How did I do that? Today is Saturday, February 8th. I'm Eve. Pretty sure I'm Eve. Yes, that still is an accurate statement. February 8th at 8:40. Um, I guess I'm all over the place. You're just going to have to excuse me. But it's a lot of information that I'm trying to get out. And I guess I got my dates all confuddled. Anyway, it's still Black History Month, right? How cool is that? And well, I have heard a lot of disgruntled people like, why don't we have a White History Month? Or you blacks didn't actually do anything of note. I mean, you only picked some cotton. And I just find that this year, this 2025, the year for me has been an unlearn, relearn. And you might be saying, well, how much can you be unlearning and relearning, or only in February? And I find that it's a lot, especially if you have the time to pause. And well, a couple times a week, I do have a time to pause and get some of these thoughts out. I hope you guys have a moment to consider the thoughts that I have. If you like them, hit the likes. If you don't, well, the comment section and live chat are available for you to use. I don't ban people for having differences in opinions. I do not like when people are being trolls, and if it's spam, then that's definitely gonna get blocked. But I'm not here to have an echo chamber. I do have some very strong thoughts, some very passionate feelings, and I'm gonna do my best to temper them so that we can have what I'd like to think would be a very productive conversation. um, Nobody in there feels about the information as much as it's just information sharing, right? We're just talking about some things. So, well, I guess without further ado, uh, like I said, welcome to my show. I'm Eve, and first, well, Black History Month. Have you guys ever wondered why it was in February? And it's so funny because people always say, well, they gave you guys the shortest month of the year. And yeah, I mean, February is the shortest month of the year, but there are some reasons for why it is February, that we observe the history of the Black people that are American. I mean, I guess maybe they wouldn't quite be American as much as they were forced to create America. Um, before America, there was something else. And, well, this is where we are in the after interruption. We've got the new country that everybody keeps coming to. It is the land of the free, the land of opportunity, if you will. Um, that's stamped on a bunch of different monuments around our great nation. And I mean, yeah, lots of opportunity, but opportunity to do what? And well, who is it benefiting at the end of the day? This country was founded by a lot of blood, sweat, and years, people working for free. And, it's hard to even call it work when there is no payment. And it's even harder to accept the fact that we're existing in a time where people say, hey, well, because you didn't get paid before, you're not going to get paid now. Actually, you weren't even the person who went through it, so you don't have a claim. And that's so strange. I mean, some of the laws that everybody's comfortable following, well, maybe we could exist in a time where the law is applied equally. And, well, since we're not in that time right now, we're going to have to pay attention to some things, right? First thing, Black History Month. The reason. Born in 1875 in New Canton, Virginia, Carter G. Woodson is the originator. It used to be called Negro History Week. And Negro History Week was during a specific week to give props to specific people because of, their birthday. And then what kind of all happened in that time. Now, I'm not going to say who all's birthday. Y'all just look at the calendar and see who all was born in February. And then maybe just the fact that I don't choose to mention them because, well, if you didn't free anybody, then why are we mentioning you at all? And if we're not going to mention your Melungian ancestry, then again, why are we mentioning you at all? So, no mention. However, well, it did give us an opportunity. It's kind of like that token. Nobody wants to be the token because it's got a bad connotation that comes with it. But, to think of yourself as a token that can get access and give access, like that type of token. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? I don't know. It's a secondary thought that I've had after having a show with Dr. Winters on one of our reality checks on Wednesdays. But, to be the person that gives the opportunity. You got an opportunity and then you were afforded the ability to grant an opportunity. I think that's cool. Maybe you do too. I don't know. Some people, they get an opportunity and they say, hey, I had to work hard for it. So you need to work hard for it. And I'm not saying that working hard doesn't have its benefits. It's not going to kill you to work hard. But, well, working hard on your own or hardly working because you're forcing others to do a job that you don't want to do and that you don't know how to do. I think that there are some distinctions that need to be made. There's lots of big differences. Like you can't compare chattel slavery to people who work, people who work in the United States but are in the United States illegally. That is not what happened with my ancestors. They were not in the United States illegally. There was no United States. And since there was no United States, it was just a bunch of areas that different groups of people from Europe had invaded and colonized. It's well, again, you can't equate things that don't equal. It's like saying apples and oranges. And then I know one of the slow bus people will say, well, Eve, they're both fruit. Yes, they are both fruit, but an apple is not an orange. And you know that. You also know an orange is not an apple. You know that. So let's not be obtuse. Let's just get to the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty is that Carter G. Woodson might have been one of those tokens that I was telling you about, the opportunity given and an opportunity granted, giving us the ability to loudly and proudly talk about who we are without having to worry about people having something to say. I mean, give them a week. They're only asking for a week. Never mind the fact that we all have our lights on and it's because of one of them. Never mind the fact that, we drive to work every day and the fact that we have a whole assembly line making cars is because of one of them. Never mind the fact that, well, the fact that those cars are on streets with stoplights. Don't worry about that. I mean, okay, fine. Eve, you win. Let them talk about it for a week. And then they better shut up about it for the rest of the year, right? But it's like the saying, when you give someone an inch and they take a mile, that's where we are. We were given an inch. We took a little bit more than an inch. Definitely wouldn't say we took any miles. No. It's baby steps, and we definitely took some baby steps. So February being the shortest month of the year, it fits. And also the fact that it is the only month that people who have the same ancestry of me were told that it's okay to celebrate a little bit. You can't do too much. you better not do too much. But if you want to wear some dashikis, that's cool. Okay, fine. You want to wear some red, black, and green? That's fine. That's fine. But again, make sure you're only doing it during that month. You can be black during February. Nobody's outside. It's all cold anyway. It's a great month for you to show up and show out. And then you find that people who you wouldn't know that they fried chicken at all in their house. They're so far removed from even the stereotype that we have. And I'm not saying that all of us like fried chicken, because we don't. I don't even eat chicken like at all anymore, but it's not a food that I'm unfamiliar with. I did grow up on chicken, and I don't know people who can make better fried chicken. I know the internet will tell you that it's some Asians, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, I'm 99.9% sure it is some people who, again, look like me, have the same shared story from here, this landmass, and going to other places and showing people how we do it. Then they take it and they put, their spices on it. Your chicken might have some lemongrass in it now. Cool, I guess, if that's what you like. I don't know. Maybe your chicken is a general somewhere. It's cool. It's cool. But where it starts, I'm pretty sure that it is our influence on the rest of the world that makes anything that they have culturally great, because of our influence on it. And you can come for me in the comments if you want to. I'm here for it, because Black history is not only American history, it's world history. Really, truly. Think about it. Think about it. What did I just say about the lights? If we didn't do that here, you wouldn't have it there. How about that? What about them stoplights, right? Another light. How bright and brilliant of us to give light in a constant form and fashion to the world. I mean, that's just so selfless. Never mind the fact that, in the midst of our creative genius and boom, we were having to fight all sorts of fights. And our Wall Streets were being burnt down, flooded. We were being run out of these areas because, well, we don't like the advancement of you people who we didn't actually want to let go. But because you fought us and fought against us and fought with us, well, we don't know what to do. We just know we don't like that. I mean, I don't even have a car yet, and you blacks are driving. How dare you? I'm still in a horse and carriage, and you guys are driving what? Our story is deep. And without us, well, a lot of y'all would still be in the dark. I mean, let's see. Lewis Latimer, Garrett Morgan with the stoplight, and then, well, George Washington Carver with the automation, what's it called? Assembly line aspect of it all. I wonder if people have such creative genius in their homeland, why their homeland hasn't been able to offer us anything. We've got people from the quote, quote, motherland who have all of these minerals, elements, and resources. And no, they don't have control over these minerals, resources, or elements. But they come here and they tell us about the land that they come from. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but do you own it? And look, I personally can understand this sentiment in a very small way because, well, we don't really own things here either. I would say the difference is that, well, we're not dealing with the same middle management. Their middle management is all black, and then their upper management is all black, and then you got some scattered whites. Here, well, I guess maybe it's an unlearn and relearn moment for us all. Are we only 14% of the population, or was that just a trick? Are there any um, original white people out there who want to have a conversation about the State of the Union? Because I find that, maybe you didn't think it would get here, and all of your racism and discrimination, treachery, and just, okay, maybe you just exist now and you're the different one from your family. So, not necessarily talking about you, but if you do have that past in your story, then really, when you didn't kill us all, like how it's happened around the world, you've got colonization, and then whether it is everybody is gone mentally, they are actually going to accept your new colonial name. Never mind the fact that these large pieces of land used to be named this, but we're going to split it up and call it this, and we're going to call this that. And, well, the people are going to accept the name of the landmass because they can't do anything about it. Okay, is that where we are? Because maybe if we were just told that it was less of us, then we would accept these things that other people have accepted. It's not like all of the indigenous black people of the world are gone. They're just, again, mental. Gone. They're not wiped out. They haven't been infiltrated genetically. They still maintain their melanin, but their mind. In what way do you want to exist? I asked this last year. I'm still asking it because you will get everything that you want if you work for it. But in what form? At what cost? That's my question for the original white people. If you are out there and you know who you are, and if you speak a Spanish, you don't qualify to answer this question because, well, y'all got a different story, and I'm not talking about y'all right now. So when your people did all of these things, did you expect that winning would look like this? It would look like a rapid decline. It would look like 152 at 27 years old. Because it's not that I don't think people have thoughts about the future. I just think that people get real big for their britches. So maybe they don't consider the ramifications of their actions. And that's people, right? People be people. And isn't it time for us to, do something else? In a time where we were told that we can only have a week and then we take a month by a man who was born 10 years after the fight for the Union. Why does it take so long for us to do things that make a huge or nationwide impact? It's like when you're playing a game, basketball, if you will. I know. I'm always going basketball. And y'all probably would believe me when I tell you I have not watched a professional basketball game in some years. So just using the basics. One-on-one, you have to do all the things. You have to be able to dribble the ball, shoot the ball, defend your position, and make some points. You're going to have to be able to block the other person that you're playing and make sure that they can't make any points. And, one-on-one, we win every single time. That's why they had to make this rule 3/5, right? Or 3/8, or what is it? How much of us was mattered? Oh, don't be shy in the chat. Yeah, 3/5. The compromise from 1787. It's so strange. We've got these things that people remember from school. Like, I remember the 3/5 compromise, but do you really? Because you keep saying that we're 14% of the population, and if that were the case, why did they need to account for all of these people? That 14% of the population, since the time of them recording the data, that's 200 years. That's almost mathematically impossible. Almost. I mean, it would have to be a lot of killing and a lot of dying and then a lot of birthing all at the same time. And while they did let us know that we are the supposed and stereotypical baby killers, and then you actually look up the cases and you find that it's a Becky who did something very terrible to her children, or you find that it's a Brian who couldn't just take himself out, right? He had to take out the kids and the wife and anybody else who was around, because sometimes it's just, well, it's a casualty. You weren't supposed to get got because it was only going to be me and my family, but you were in the way, you got in the way, so you also got to get gone too. When people start having to deal with life with less than what they've been used to, it's like they start feeling what we've been saying this entire time. Like, hey, we know that y'all are living your best lives, and hey, that's cool and all, but can we just eat? And that wasn't me, but that is a story that we've had where people trained themselves to go into establishments and get food poured on them and get verbally harassed and withstand these forms of abuse because, can I eat? I can't eat. I mean, I'll accept the fact that I can't come in the same door, but can I eat? That's what people were asking when we were fighting for resources that were owed to us because of how much work had been done, but nobody had gotten paid for it. Again, I can't equate people who are not supposed to be here working and getting paid, whether it's for a little bit of money or under the table, because they're getting paid. People who are not supposed to be here when a lot of the people who were enslaved were already here. How can you say that they're not supposed to be here? I mean, I'll even give you this bone. If they're not supposed to be here, then what you would have done is you would have taken over the area and kicked everybody out and said, hey, you can't be in this area right here. If you come across this line, then you're going to have some consequences because this is mine now. But that's not what happened. And no, we didn't get enveloped into society. We've always been on the outside. And, well, as an outsider looking in, can I eat? But no, I don't want to eat with you. I just want the ability to feed myself. But then that starts to turn into a problem. Happy Black History Month. There were more than one Black Wall Streets. There are more than 3 documented uprisings and rebellions during our enslavement. And you need to do some research, because depending on which rabbit hole you fall into, you're going to find that, well, it's mathematically impossible for the amount of people to come over on ships at the time that they were saying people were coming up on ships. That's impossible. They are lying. Okay. But then you start looking for the ships. Where are these ships? Of people who love documenting their story. and their mark on history. All of these museums with stolen history, but still, all of these museums, but you don't have a lot of these ships. I know. They're doing the most trying to incorporate our story into different states and different African American centered and themed museums and exhibits. And I think that's great. I think it's a good start to educating the masses. But the best start, the only start, it would have been for them to have cut the check, at the time that they said that they were going to, because an understood debt means that interest is going to be owed. Anything that you've had to sign your name to a dotted line saying that you agree to the terms. Hey, shout out to people sending some dollars electronically. That's cool. Hey, if you want to, Cash App and links are in the description. But I guess I can change that banner. There you go. So yeah, shout out to you. But back to what I was saying. Black Wall Street's all over the place because we were all over the place. We also fought back a lot. And, it's like what happens in this house stays in this house. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And since you know what I'm talking about, it would make sense that a lot of these rebellions are undocumented because, well, what happened in that house stayed in that house. That house burned down and the people left. They didn't have to be there anymore. And no, they didn't flee to another nation. They just moved down the road into an area that, other people don't like to be in because maybe it's got some mosquitoes, maybe it's got some caiman, maybe the terrain isn't friendly to their people. But, if we've always been here, then we kind of know how to live off of the land and we know the nooks and the crannies. It's like guerrilla warfare. And everybody knows about guerrilla warfare because of Vietnam. So, just take the little bit of history you already know and just extend it to the fact that my story and maybe your story is world history. You'll see what I mean because, well, without us, I wouldn't even be able to be on the internet with you right now. Shout out to Black foundational interests. I mean, really, if we weren't so creative, then the world would be so bland. And as much as I want to show this video, this I want to say it's Key and Peele. I'm not trying to overuse Key and Peele, right? But I'm also not trying to get any strikes tonight. I hope y'all have appreciated the fact that I haven't cursed, but there's this video and it's like, if you take away all of Black inventions, how would the world be? And not only would the food be very bland, but everything's kind of boring. And then it's also very hot because there's no air conditioning. And again, like I said, we don't really have cars in the same form and fashion. We don't have flashy things. Stunting on people is not everybody's story as much as everybody likes stunting on people, right? I mean, really, you've got millionaires and 100,000aires wearing t-shirts that cost $1,000 just because they like to say, well, my t-shirt costs $1,000. And yeah, it's just a t-shirt, but still, you couldn't pay for it. And dang, for us to have been some cotton picking N-words, we can't get into the t-shirt business and make shirts for $1,000 because, oh, you're charging too much for that. It's just a t-shirt, Eve. Shame on y'all. We used to pick cotton. I mean, really, and silk and all sorts of hard labor. The fact that we send our America sends out a call to the rest of the world saying, hey, we need skilled workers. And then those skilled workers use our research and do really cool things, really great things. Again, things that they wouldn't have been able to do without us, but no mention of us, no need to mention us because, well, they don't even mention them, right? It's crazy, but it makes sense. You know what else is crazy but makes sense? Well, the fact that you'll stop February 28th. And actually, some years you'll stop on February 29th. But why stop? If you're a person who believes that you've had enough, then why would you stop celebrating all of the wonder that is you at the end of the month? I need y'all to ask yourselves a question while I try to find this clip real quick. 1 second.
Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Put the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. A fight inherited, no turning back, we're on our way. Tune into Eve at the end of your day. Defying the odds, she's breaking the mold. Black, beautifully blunt, Eve's story is bold. Unpopular talks, but they need to be heard. Eve's on a mission, spreading the word. Black America is fighting the oldest fight. Using her voice, shining the light. Stay ready, stay strong, that's her creed. Eve's got the wisdom, planting the seed. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Planting seeds. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. A fight inherited, no turning back, we're on our way. Tune into Eve at the end of your day. Defying the odds, she's breaking the mold. Black, beautifully blunt, Eve's story is bold. Unpopular talks, but they need to be heard. Eve's on a mission, spreading the word. Black America is fighting the oldest fight. Using her voice, shining the light. Stay ready, stay strong, that's her creed. Eve's got the wisdom, planting the seed. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Planting seeds. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on code.
All right. Thank you for your patience. And don't joke me too hard. I had a lot of typing issues. So if you saw the horrible spelling before I shared the screen, that's on me.
Black History Month you find
Ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
No, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You want to say, well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you
In a candid interview with the Sunday Times, Freeman didn't hold
the gravity of
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
it's not that part.
I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it.
Right. I know. A lot of y'all probably don't agree here. However, Mr. Fuller, our newly transitioned elder ancestor now, he wrote this book about the code. And I don't know if Morgan Freeman read the code or not, because sometimes some of us are just on it, you know, the same way you might see one of us out in public and there doesn't need to be this whole hoopla, doesn't need to be this whole spectacle as much as we do acknowledge each other's presence and, you know, keep it moving sometimes. Sometimes there's conversation, but most time, I mean, we're not as social as we used to be, and maybe that is because of the experiments we all went through a couple of years ago and social distancing and whatnot, but still, that hasn't really changed our acknowledgement of each other in public spaces. So did that have to be written down in a book? No. Do some people need things written in a book so that they understand how their actions have consequences? Yes. I mean, isn't that what the Bible is? But no, let's not go there tonight. Tonight, let's just talk about what he said, just that one part about, well, he's going to stop calling him a white man. You stop calling him a black man, and then everything's solved. Kind of. In the code, it's there's only two types of people. You've got white people, and you've got everybody else. And that's the only way that any of this has been able to work, because all of these other groups of people think that they have an N. They have the illusion of inclusion because the people who wrote the system that we all live in, not capitalism, not the oligarchy, no, racism, white supremacy, that's the system. And the world has been dominated by it for a couple centuries. But what goes up must come down. And if you look at history, you can see the signs when a civilization is on its decline. And in the ashes, new things rise. I mean, really, look at the wildfires and see how sometimes you can have new vegetation that hadn't been there in a long time. It gets the ability to grow now because there's nothing in the way. My family story is the story that the country is founded on because, well, without my family, you wouldn't be here. Not just my biological family, but my people, right? I mean, I know everybody wants to be people and we don't have time for friends. So it's got to be family. And yeah, if we can choose our family the way that you choose your mate, unless y'all are family, you know, there are some people out there like that still doing them things. I mean, them breeding farms put some hurt and some work on our mental. But, well, kissing cousins and daddy, brother, sister, mommies is not our story. So let's not claim the degeneracy. Let's just talk about the things. And, well, the thing is, we could get rid of it all by taking away race. There didn't used to be race. Why is there race? Well, if the reason is to keep resources away from a specific group of people for all eternity, then all you have to do is be cool with that, because at some point you might get something. I mean, who knows what you're going to get? And if you are one of those melanated people who stomped for President Trump and then did not get the job you thought you were going to get, shout out to Vivek. I'm just saying, you know, you have to think about the fact that you chose your people, right? And for what it's worth, coming over here a couple years ago and saying, because I look like you my people, that's cool. But then what about your actions? It's going to have to be more than that, because in 2025, let me tell you, the amount of comments that I've seen in my comment section over the past 5 days saying, aren't we sticks and stonesing? What about sticks and stones, Eve? And no, they don't say Eve because I guess they don't know me, but still, there are real life people right now in 2025 saying sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I mean, right, yeah, words don't hurt me. I don't care if you call me the N-word. I really don't. I really would like you to not refer to me at all if you can't do it respectfully. However, when it comes to what matters, the debt that's owed, you can pay that without even talking to me. You can call me all sorts of names and still do what is necessary, you know, cut the check, make that payment, do what's right. We don't have to exchange words at all. But people think that there's this conversation that needs to be held. So again, original white people, where are y'all at? I know there's still a little bit of y'all out here. You couldn't all have been wiped out by the incoming non-Black people. And if you're out there, I mean, is this what you thought? Is this what you wanted to happen? Because I'm not stopping February 28th, and nobody I know stops February 28th, even the ones who don't talk blackity black like me. Because when they wake up, they're Black. And when they went to sleep, they're Black. And everybody I know knows that that comes with a lot of responsibility. And while everybody's looking at us for the example and how to be and the moral compass and how to be cool and the swag and all of these things that we don't actually benefit from, the one thing that matters, you know, you could just break us off with them resources that you stole from us with interest. Then we can move towards some healing, because getting rid of the labels, it's not going to do anything if there's still a debt that's owed. And if you want to get rid of the labels so that you don't have to pay the debt, then I don't know. You're just going to have to keep these labels. N-word, hard R, I don't care. Keep them. Because it makes me understand that you know exactly who is owed and for what. Where on earth do you have the N-word? Unless it's here in America. And yeah, you're going to say, well, in other languages, they have their own word for Blacks. Sure. But did they have Jim Crow? Did they have the Black Codes? Did they have the KKK? And if you're a melanated person who decided to come over here knowing all of that, come on now. We might be people, but how much work have you done to help your people? Because if it was just come over here and take up space, I don't count that as help. I count that as a liability. Because what'll happen is you'll become a hashtag because you were a soft target. And then the people that loved you will ride for you because you weren't one of them tethers. You know, you didn't you never spoke crazy. You didn't talk against what's owed to us, but you didn't really do anything. Right? I mean, you hear it's cool that we hit numbers, right? The numbers. I mean, look at the numbers as written by them. The 14% of the population, 40 million is us. And then you got a million of another group of melanated people from an island. And then less than a million of another group of melanated people from another island. And then in the hundreds of thousands scattered from other groups of melanated people from other places around the world. So I don't know that the numbers, I don't know that math is mathing. But we can do something about that math, especially during this Black History Month. First things first, don't stop in February. I mean, they want you to stop in February because March is Women's History Month. And, you can't talk about the Blacks without talking about the women. And just like in civil rights, you've got the fact that, well, we're fighting for tangibles and resources, and they're fighting for access and putting their names on papers, all this symbolic stuff. Because at the end of the day, in 2025, you can go on TikTok right now and see their women complaining about this access to jobs. They don't want to be working. How dare those women fight for the right to work in these fields with these conditions, right? And then if you think about the very laborious jobs, it's not really a woman doing them anyway. A lot of the hazardous jobs, and again, ladies, I'm not saying that you don't and can't do a hazardous job. You can, and I know if you want to, you will. Like I said earlier, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. But at what cost? Did you grow up wanting to be the garbage truck driver? If you did, and that's what you decided to go do, that's great. And if the cost is that you end up smelling like garbage at the end of the day, and you have to try to find a man, even though most of your day is around sewage and stuff, then maybe I don't know, maybe the paycheck is worth it. I'm really not sure, because I don't have that same issue. I mean, the women like me, we've not had a choice. There's not been an option for us to just be at home and then to fight for the right to work, as much as when we were fighting for resources. Those resources that they didn't actually pay out when they were supposed to pay out. Those resources that, hey, you got the skill, but I'm not going to hire you because I don't like you. And I remember when I didn't have to pay you, and I could put hands on you, and I can be inside of you, and I mean the women and the men, and it's just all these different things. But at the end of the day, well, that's not where we are anymore. We're in a different time. We're in the illusion of freedom. People are so deluded by this idea of freedom that they will fight tooth and nail. They will travel thousands of miles on foot, no less, to get here and work illegally. They don't even do the paperwork. And check this, the paperwork is in their native language, you guys. I mean, how easy could it be? Think about what you learned during Black History Month in school. The slaves were not allowed to speak their native tongue. In 2025, you don't have to speak English, and you can go vote for the president who speaks English, but you can get a ballot in a language that's not English. What? You can go to a job, and if you don't speak English, they will give you assistance in filling out the application and saying that you understand the ramifications, responsibilities, liabilities. And then, well, if you're not supposed to be here, and if you find the right one, we'll let you be here for, well, we're gonna pay you less. Obviously, you knew what you were in for. And I'm like, dang, these people clawed their way here, and some hung on to the wings of planes. Those photos will always be so crazy. People not wanting to fight for what's theirs and would rather risk injury and life and limb for a chance to get away from all the tragedy. Can you imagine America without us? America without us wouldn't be America. I mean, really, the rest of the world would have taken over. it would probably be some sort of French and Spanish thing that is melanated, but the mind is gone. I mean, you can look at what was written. Some plantations was very cool with, the little bastard babies. I mean, as long as you didn't overstep your bounds, you didn't get too big for your britches, boy, then you can, exist. You can oversee, you can be in the house, you can get new clothes, you can stunt on them other niggas. Just, don't get in the way, don't fight back, don't think that you can get anything that's not yours, because it's not yours, but you can be here and I'm not gonna mess with you, because you did come from my loins, boy or girl. It's just, in this reenactment, it was just a white plantation owner that was kind of coming through. Shout out to my ancestors. I feel like it's very dark to be able to channel some weird stuff like that. But anyway, yes, all the way free in the chat. Reparations for the foundation of America. Now, and to the people in my comments saying that FBA is mixture of blacks and whites, the whole world at this point is a mixture of blacks and whites. Y'all really need to read a book. And if you ask me which book, I got a couple. First, you would start somewhere with Dr. Winters, if you wanted to understand your specific group of melanated people on whatever landmass you're on. He's got a ton of books. He's also got a ton of articles, peer-reviewed, and on Google Scholar, no less. If you're in college, use Dr. Winters in your research. I promise you are not going to be disappointed with the amount of work he's done. Primary research is almost a forgotten art because people use Wikipedia now. Back in my day, Wikipedia was actually frowned upon as a scholarly research. You can't use it because anybody can add anything into Wikipedia. And then I guess, again, the experiments from a couple years ago kind of gave everybody the ability to just coast. But maybe we can get back to some standards. It took a whole racist to become the president again after he had gotten some felonies in his jacket to say that we need these jobs to be based on merit. What more do you N-words want? We're taking away all of the hoops and ladders. Can you perform the job? And really, were you a DEI hire? Because I've never been one. I don't know what that looks like. I've been turned down because I'm overqualified. So what is this DEI that you speak of? I'm really racking my brain. I know you guys say it's not just about race, it's about other things, but why do other things matter when it comes to performing a job? And look, I had a conversation the other day with a person I respect a lot, and they reminded me that DEI includes things like nursing facilities and, for mothers and stuff, and that's cool. I get it. That's a diversity that I hadn't expected to be able to put away easily. And I'm a person who's birthed 5, and they're all beautiful, and they were all nursed. So as a person who's benefited from having a nursing room and changing tables, changing stations, and all that stuff is cool, but at the end of the day, if you ask me, it was always kind of easier to just throw on a cover. And that's really only because I didn't want people looking at my boobies. Nor did their father want people looking at my boobies. And as much as y'all will say, well, that's just a natural way to eat, there are people who just like to look for things. And while these same people can have a very wild and vivid imagination. Can you imagine that person who just happens to be at the restaurant and they look to their left and whoa, oh, whoa, it's not just boobies, but those are boobies, right? I mean, let's not give people an opportunity to be weird. We're all trying to eat. Can I eat? But again, not with y'all. I just want the ability to feed myself, feed my family. Why can't we live? Maybe it's because a lot of us are relegating our story to 28 or 9 days. I mean, 28 days, and then every 4 years extra day. What? Is that the day that some of y'all smoke some weed? Like you extra black on a leap year, so then you go do the most stereotypical thing. You go, I don't know, you say, well, I don't know, you rack your brain like Kamala, and then you have a moment where you tell people you washed your greens in the bathtub, because that's something that I think they would do. I don't know. I'm not built for this, but it is February and I do got this skin, and I did go to Howard. Happy Black History Month, America and world, because look, in the FAAFO time, it's almost like if you don't remember that this is us and this has always been us, then you're the one who messed around and found out, right? You're the one who's waking up to the uncomfortable realization that you have to work. You have to keep working. And you're going to have to talk about some things because people don't know enough. And as many people as I've met saying that they've read this code book, but don't understand why there was the need to write the book, well, shame on you. Because y'all are people who probably need the Bible too. I mean, really, if you needed somebody to tell you on paper that you can't kill somebody just because not that the Bible says that you can't do that. You can't just do it just because, right? If you're a person who needed somebody to tell you to not be messing around with your homie's girl and not to be messing around with your sister's man, like soul food and stuff like that. Like if you need that written down, then, well, there's a book for that. And again, if you're a person who needs to know what to do when you see another person who looks like you in public, well, I mean, there's a book for that. And to my detriment, maybe everybody doesn't need access to everything, but withholding the information, I don't know that that's the move either. You're either ready for it or you're not. This Black History Month, are you ready? Because I am.
Just eat.